Hey, what is up, guys? It is Limited Llama back with another Sorare MLB video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about Sorare MLB relievers and how to pick which reliever you want, what types of relievers there are, and which ones are best for scoring points. So this has been something that I've been thinking about for a while, so I'm just gonna kind of walk through my thoughts, and you can post in the comments if you like them, if you disagree, if you think there's some things I missed. But the place that I'm going to start out is the scoring system for Sorare. So if you go to Sorare, click MLB, and then you click How to Play. Inside of the basics here, there's the scoring system. And this is how players score points in Sorare. And again, we're focused on relievers today. So we're primarily focused on the pitching category. And the thing I want to talk about is innings pitched, and then wins, saves, and holds. So innings pitched is worth 3 points, wins is worth 5, saves is worth 10, and holds are worth 5 as well. So we're going to keep those in the back of my mind, and we're going to go over to a presentation I made and kind of walk through my thoughts about relievers. And then we're going to kind of walk through some of the best players, I think, of each of these categories. So the first thing is I think there's like 4 main reliever types in MLB. And these are ranked from like best in Sorare, but also most expensive in Sorare to worst and least expensive. So the top of the line, the best relievers in Sorare are going to be your closers. And that's because they're going to be netting you 10 points for every save that they successfully complete, and that is a lot of points. So recently, Emmanuel Clase has been on an absolute tear. He's gotten like 5 saves in a week, which that racks up to like 30 or 40 points per week that you're playing him in. So closers just get you a lot of points because of the save opportunities that they're in if they're successful. And I'm going to walk through a little bit more nuance about each of these category types. The next type is setup relievers, and these are your 7th and your 8th inning guys that you're going to play in close games where you're winning, or even maybe when you have a chance to come back, and these guys set up your closers. And these are also going to be a little bit cheaper than closers, but can also net you quite a few points because of the holds that they might give you. The third type are multi-inning relievers, and these are guys that you're going to throw in games that you're either winning a bunch or you're losing a bunch, and they can potentially pitch multiple innings and get you points that way. And then the final type, this is basically just your trash relievers. Whenever the game is over, essentially, if you're like losing by 10 or perhaps winning by 10 and there's nothing really at stake, you'll throw these guys in just so that you can keep your other bullpen arms fresh. These guys they're going to be super cheap on Sorare, but they just aren't worth buying. They aren't worth playing because obviously they aren't going to get you that many points. So these are the types, and then I'm going to walk through a little bit of detail about each type. And I'm going to start off with the cheapest, but also the least valuable, and these are your multi-inning relievers. So again, they're going to score points primarily by pitching multiple innings. So in the same way that your starters are scoring points by pitching you 6 or 7 innings, multi-inning relievers are going to score you points by pitching 2 or 3 innings, getting a lot of outs, maybe some strikeouts. They're going to be significantly cheaper than both setup relievers and closers because they just aren't scoring quite as many points. And the main thing that I want to talk about in this video is which relievers should you get in each of these categories. So with multi-inning relievers, you want to focus on teams that have bad pitching depth. And what that means is that their starting pitching is not going like 6 or 7 innings, and they're getting booted out of games early, which means that team needs relievers more quickly, and they need multi-inning relievers who can carry multiple innings. So I'm going to walk through how I would go about finding some good teams that I would pick up some multi-inning relievers from. So over on Baseball Savant, they have this page for 2022 Major League Baseball starting pitching. And inside of this, there's all of these categories, which is super overwhelming. But the one that you want to focus on is this innings pitched per game started. And this tells you how many innings the starters went on these specific teams for every game that they start. So if you have a super high number, that means that the starting pitchers go really long, right? For the Houston Astros, they're going 6 innings per game started. So the relievers are not going to have many opportunities to come in and pitch multiple innings. But for example, on the Tampa Bay Rays or the Pittsburgh Pirates, the starters aren't going quite as many innings. So let's focus on the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have low innings pitched per game started, and then you can click on them, and inside of Baseball Savant, it'll show you down here team pitching, and it'll show you all of the starting pitchers, and then it'll also show you the relief pitchers, and then it'll give you, this guy's the closer, these others are the relief pitchers, and then from here, what you can do is you can compare how many games they were in with the innings pitched. So if you basically divide this number by this number, you can calculate how many innings they're pitching per start, or not per start, but per game that they're in. So you can see Will Crow, he's pitching about, a little over 1 inning per every relief appearance. Dwayne, a little over 1, right? Chris Stratton, almost exactly 1. David Bednar, almost exactly 1, a little bit over 1. But then you see here, Chase DeJong, right? He's pitching almost 2 innings for every time that he appears. So that means that he is the Pirates' multi-inning reliever guy. So then you can kind of click on him, make sure, obviously his ERA is good, his numbers look good, and then you can go over to the game logs, right? Go 2022, and then you can scroll down here, and you can see how many innings pitched he has for every outing that he goes. So you can see he's going 2 innings just about every outing. And since the Pirates don't have starting pitchers that are going super long, there's a chance that Chase DeJong might be pitching in, 4 innings in one specific week and rack you up a bunch of points. So again, with multi-inning relievers, they aren't going to be your best bet for relievers, but if you want to, spend less money, get some cheaper relievers, they're a good way to go. Just make sure you're focusing on teams with bad starting pitching depth. And the final thing to note about multi-inning relievers is that they're probably the least consistent reliever type, and that's because they, if the starting pitchers go long enough, they just aren't going to be used. So there's a chance, right? If we go back over to Chase DeJong, right, he had a break of 7 days where he just didn't pitch. So there's a chance that your reliever just gets you no points because the starters are doing really well. And it also just isn't quite as fun to root for these players because you're basically rooting for the starters to do bad, which just isn't fun. It's more fun to root for people to do well. So this is an option, but it wouldn't really be the one that I would go for. The next option up the hierarchy, the tier list of relievers, are the setup relievers. And your setup relievers are going to score points primarily by holds. And again, holds will score you 5 points per every hold. So that's a decent amount of points per every hold. And they're going to pitch in the 7th and the 8th inning in close situations. So if your team's up by 1 or 2 or 3 runs, they're going to come in and move the game along, hopefully get a clean inning, and move the game to your closer. They're going to be cheaper than closers because holds are worth less points than closers. So if you want to spend less money, this is a good route to go. And then the focus for both setup relievers and closers is the same. You want to focus on teams that play and win close games. So honestly, there isn't really a good way to track which teams are playing and winning close games. Well, there probably is. I just couldn't find it easily. So the way that I kind of looked at it was I just looked up the top closers. So we can just go MLB top closers. And then this just kind of gives you every closer, how many games they've played in, how many saves they've had. So this is primarily focusing on closers, but you can do the same thing for late inning relievers and see how many holds they have, right? So we can see MLB best hold relievers. So we can see... Okay, so the thing I had to search was MLB most holds, and then this top one gives you the players that have the most holds. So you can see AJ Minter here, Brad Boxberger. These guys all have quite a few holds, and that means that their teams are putting them in good situations where they're close and they have an opportunity to move it on to the next guy. So setup relievers are a good way to go if you don't want to pay the money for a solid closer. But they are obviously not always going to be used. If your team has an off week, they aren't going to be used because you're going to be using some of these multi-inning guys. But they are, again, cheaper and they're pretty reliable. So it's not a bad choice to go with some setup relievers. And then the final, kind of like the top tier, the best relievers that you can get are going to be closers. And closers are scoring points primarily by saves, which score you 10 points per save, which is absolutely bonkers. That's so many points. They're going to be pitching in the 9th inning specifically in save situations. So that means your team is winning by 3 or less. And again, for closers, you want to focus on teams that play and win close games. So if you're watching baseball, you can kind of know which teams are winning close games. I know my Guardians, we play a lot of close games and we win a lot of close games. And our closer, Emmanuel Clase, is getting a lot of work because of that. So he's a great pickup. Again, if you want to find which teams are doing that, you can go baseball reference, top closers. And this will show you, the records for saves. I guess this is all time. Okay, so the thing I had to do was remove baseball reference. And then right here, it's on ESPN.com, MLB Baseball Best Closers of 2022. And then this website has the list of all your closers, right? You got our Emmanuel Clase for the Guardians. He has 35 save opportunities, only 3 blown saves. So you want to obviously go to this website, look at which teams have close games and which relievers have a lot of saves. And you really don't want your closer to have a lot of blown saves. That's what this stat is. The more blown saves they have, that's going to be obviously losing you points because you aren't going to be getting the 10 points for a save. So this list, these are all great guys to pick up on your team because saves get you so many dang points. So that is all I had for this video. Again, post down in the comments if you have other comments about relievers, but I was just thinking about it, kind of racking my brain about which relievers were the best, and I think I came out to the conclusion that closers are going to be your best bet for relieving, but obviously they're the most expensive, so you want to weigh your risk and reward there. So that's all. Tomorrow I'm going to be posting an update for how my MLB team is doing, so be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.